In sports, there are big games, there are championship finals, and then there are those rare moments where history just seems to stop. And this is the story of one of those moments. So picture this, the bright blue court in Melbourne. A young challenger steps into the lion's den, and the mission is simple, but it's epic. To become a legend, he had to beat one. This wasn't just about a trophy, you guys. This was about earning a seat at the table of the gods.
All right, let's really break down this matchup because it was a true clash of titans. In one corner, you've got Carlos Alcaraz, this young Spanish phenom, just buzzing with energy. And in the other corner, Novak Djokovic, the man who basically turned the Australian Open into his own personal playground. And what's just wild here is the sheer gap between them. The slide really lays it out. Look at the ages, 38 and 22. But the number that just jumps off the page, the one that's truly terrifying for any opponent, 10. 10 Australian Open titles for Djokovic, and a big old 0 for Alcaraz. See, this wasn't just another final. It was like trying to climb a living, breathing mountain.
And that brings us to this number right here, 10 and 0. Think about that. That was Novak Djokovic's record in Australian Open finals. Not just undefeated, perfect. 10 times he'd walked into that final, and 10 times he'd walked out with the trophy. He wasn't just the favorite. He was seen as, invincible on this stage. So you can probably guess how this match started, right? It went exactly, and I mean exactly, as everyone expected. Djokovic came out with this air of absolute calm dominance. It honestly felt less like a competition and more like a formality, like we were just waiting for the coronation. And this timeline just shows you how fast, how clinical it was. The match starts, and boom, just 33 minutes later, the first set is done. 6-2, a complete masterclass. If you were watching, you were probably thinking, okay, this is going to be quick. The script was playing out perfectly. And this quote from ESPN, man, it just tells the whole story. He won 16 out of 18 points on his own serve and made only 4 mistakes the entire set. That's not just good, that's practically perfect. It was Djokovic at the absolute peak of his powers. But then, something happened. Something just shifted. You could almost feel the air on Rod Laver Arena change. The young challenger, the kid who looked totally out of his depth just a few minutes ago, he decided he wasn't going to be just another name in Djokovic's long list of victims. He decided to start writing his own story. So how'd he do it? What was the switch? He completely flipped the script. Alcaraz just cranked the intensity dial all the way up to 11. He used that unbelievable speed of his to chase down every single ball. Suddenly, he was turning these impossible defensive scrambles into blistering offensive winners. And what that did was it forced Djokovic to play a riskier game, to aim closer to the lines just to end a point. And right here, this is the result of all that pressure. This chart says it all, doesn't it? From just 4 unforced errors in that near-perfect first set, Djokovic's error count ballooned to 46 by the end of the match. See, Alcaraz wasn't just playing with Djokovic anymore. He was forcing him to play a totally different, much more uncomfortable style of tennis. And just like that, the impossible started to feel, possible. Alcaraz just storms back, taking the next 2 sets, 6-2 and 6-3. All of a sudden, the challenger was leading the king in his own castle. The crowd was absolutely losing its mind. And that brings us to the end, the final heart-pounding moments of the match. Every single point felt like it lasted an eternity. The tension was just unbelievable. Was the young star going to close this out, or would the legend find a way, one last time, to come back? And then it happened. A final blistering shot, a deafening roar from the crowd, and Carlos Alcaraz, the 22-year-old kid who wasn't supposed to be here, collapses to the court. 3 hours and 2 minutes of the most brutal, brilliant tennis you will ever see, and it all comes down to this single moment of pure joy, pure relief, pure exhaustion. And when he finally spoke, you could just hear it in his voice. The emotion was so raw. This wasn't just another trophy. This was the one he'd been dreaming about his whole life, the one that proved he belonged right at the very top. And in defeat, Djokovic was just pure class. He didn't say he lost to a contender. He basically said, I lost to the #1 player in the world, someone who was already a legendary player. It was this powerful, almost symbolic passing of the torch moment. But see, this victory was so much more than just one title. It was a historic achievement. It literally punched Alcaraz's ticket in one of the most exclusive clubs in all of sports. The very legacy Djokovic just talked about, this win cemented it.
because with this win, he completed the career Grand Slam.
He completed the career Grand Slam. Now, for anyone who might not be a huge tennis nut, what that means is winning all 4 of the sport's biggest tournaments. It's like the 4 crown jewels: the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and the US Open. It's the ultimate mark of an all-time great.
And just take a look at the names on this list: Perry, Budge, Laver, Agassi, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. I mean, these aren't just great players, these are the gods of tennis. And now, Carlos Alcaraz joins them. But here's the kicker. At just 22 years and 272 days old, he is now the youngest man in the history of the sport to do it. He broke a record that's been standing since 1938. It's just incredible.
And as he was leaving the court, he did the traditional camera lens signature. His message was simple, it was powerful, it was perfect. Job finished. 4 out of 4. Complete.
And so that leaves us with this one massive question. He's already conquered what is basically the Mount Everest of tennis, and he's only 22. He's beaten the legends, and now he's one of them. So, what's next for Carlos Alcaraz? Honestly, it's almost dizzying to think about what he might still be able to do.